Hey there, feelers and deep thinkers.
Brain holders and heart havers.
Welcome back to the Empath Experience. Let's get a little drum roll going. Woo! Get that energy up.
We here.
All right, y'all. You know, I'm your girl, Cheyenne.
And James Jim the Dom is here.
And we're both here to navigate being that beautiful mess of being human, all right? So today's host, 3 words to describe today's host, is elegant, influential, I'm not going to say godly, but godlike, aura-like. Miss Hodge. How you doing today, Miss Hodge?
I am well. I'm excited to be here. You know the conversation we had before we got here, so yes, I'm well.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
All right, so here at the Empath Experience, you know, if you're new or if you're now tuning in, guys, we always start off with a mental health check-in. So it's a thumbs up if you're feeling amazing.
Okay.
Thumbs in the middle if you're feeling okay. And thumbs down is like, girl, I just made it here. Okay?
No, I'm good.
So where you at today?
I'm thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yes. We love that. I'm up here too. I'm up here. I'm feeling the energy. I'm excited to how this is going to go. What about you, Jimmy?
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
So yeah, that's good. Getting right into it, y'all. Don't forget that our episodes are also still on YouTube. However, you will only be able to access 15 to 20 minutes of each episode.
Snippets.
So with that being said, subscribe to Patreon. We have 3 subscriptions, all in your financial budget. Okay? If you can't afford one, you can afford the other
If you
friend.
could use YouTube, I'm pretty sure you could have paid for us.
Right. All right. So subscribe to Patreon. Don't forget, we drop every Wednesday, video every Wednesday at 12 a.m. and audio on Thursdays.
Yes.
Also, which something that me and Jimmy are very excited about. This Friday, we're going to be doing live interviews where we'll be reacting to different scenarios. You guys asked for it and we supplied it. So
send it in, you feel me? Anything you want to speak about, anything on your mind, rather you want to be anonymous, rather you want to be heard, you say it to us. We say what we got to say.
That's that. You guys want to hear our opinions and we'll supply it. So.
Yes, we will.
Oh, yeah. Get right into it, Miss Hodge. Tell us where you're from, background.
So I am from, let me go all the way back. Born in the Bronx, Boogie Down Bronx.
Oh, we got 2
Bronx. My family is from, both my parents were born in Honduran, Central America.
Okay.
Raised in a household that was bilingual. You know, my mom didn't speak English at the time. We would speak to her in English. I have 4 siblings.
Wow.
Ended up in the side. My husband picked me up, scooped me up from my mom's house. He brought me to Brooklyn, and I've been there ever since.
Real love story.
Yeah. Good stuff. So my background, literally, like my parents were from Honduras. They migrated. My dad came to the States first to set up shop. That was in the middle of the 60s. Civil rights movement. And what happens when you come to this new country is that everything you did before that gets canceled.
Right.
And so that was the experience. My mom came to the U.S. following that about 4 years later, and I was the first one born.
Hey, eldest daughters, yes,
eldest daughter. So I'm here. You know, our background is very rich.
Okay.
Being bilingual, Spanish, English. I had to be the voice for my mom here in the States. My job was to interpret for her, and so very early I understood the power of helping and supporting. Yeah. So that's my background, you know.
I love that. I love that.
I love how you articulate your words.
Thank you.
I'm so into what she's saying. Oh my God,
that
it's
was
amazing.
Super important, yeah.
So you mentioned eldest daughter.
Yes.
Right. Do you feel like your background like shaped who you are today?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. As an eldest daughter, I had the opportunity to model my mom, to watch her be excellent. And it wasn't something that was scripted or anything. She literally, she wasn't a tough mom. She was always soft-spoken, very loving, you know. And when she reprimanded you, you didn't feel like it was punishment. She was correcting. And so we understood very early that there was a high expectation for us to do what we were supposed to do. Yeah, that was I think I lost my train of thought right there. But beautiful background. What I could say is that she was instrumental in me being postured to do the things that I do today. Watching her be a mom of 5 children, going from being very well known in her country to almost invisible in this country, but being able to focus on being a mom, that was a benefit for me. Right. So she taught us how to sew a hem, how to cook and clean, you know. Some of the things that today we kind of frown upon.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do it.
Oh, we think it's tedious.
But it was a standard. It was a standard in our home. My siblings had to take turns. There was a chart on the wall. There was 5 of us. We took turns washing dishes, washing clothes by hand. My mom had a washing machine, but you didn't put anything in there until you washed it by hand. You know what? So we took turns. It was my 2 brothers, my 2 sisters. It was a chart, but weekly everybody was responsible of taking care of the house. And of course, my brothers sometimes got away. Sometimes my brothers got away.
They always tested you.
Sometimes my brothers got away only because my dad would kind of block. You know, he would intercept. But we learned some very valuable basic skills that today a lot of people
don't possess.
Like
Y'all heard what she said? Sewing, the cleaning is number 1. Okay, look, I think those are necessities. We spoke about being a functioning human being on your own. That is something that a lot of people can't do. They cannot function on their own.
Right.
So that's why a lot of relationships are very strenuous. I would just say, Miss Hodge, you have this very grace-like aura to you.
Super elegant.
Super elegant.
Thank you. I received that.
Your aura is just very golden. You know.
Thank you.
Very golden.
I received that.
You know what I'm saying? So you're not like the normal guest that we have, which that is okay, guys, because mental health varies from all ages, all groups, all ethnicities. So I think what I really wanted to have you on the show is to really get into your mindset as a mom, as a teacher, also, and even being a pillar in your family. You know, now that I know that you're the eldest daughter, we hold a lot of weight. Okay? All right. So with that being said, what even got you started in teaching? Like, how did the journey go? Like,
okay, first of all, I've always been in education. I'm not a teacher in the classroom.
Right, correct.
But I am a teacher. Well, okay, let me back up. I'm not a teacher in the classroom, but I believe that I consider myself an educator.
Right.
I come from the bloodline of educators. My mom was a professor in Honduras, and that's how she met my dad in school, in the university.
Right.
She was an only child, and he was, I want to say, maybe like the eldest of his siblings, but that's how they met.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. She came from being a professor and then came here and they didn't recognize that?
The American story.
This is
how it is in this country.
That's not crazy?
So my mom was a professor in Honduras. My dad was he was the highest scholar in his school. Actually, there's a dedication that's done to him in Honduras annually in Honduras because he was also the first black native Garifuna in Honduras that attended the Manuela Institute, which was not common if you were a native because people come from all over the world to be educated there. And so he also became an educator there, and that was not something that was common.
That's dope.
So yeah, so that's how they met. But back to your question regarding being a mom, just observing my mom be so chill and still be very bold in her, in her character. That's where I get my calmness from, the ability to love my daughters and my children, even not my children that are not my biological children.
Yeah.
So my daughters are 10 years apart, and they've all had friends from school coming up from preschool up to college. And those are my daughters too. Their friends are my daughters.
I love that.
So at any given time, any one of them could be staying over at the house because our house was the safe space. And so I pride myself on that as well.
I said that. I want my house to, as well to be the safe space.
Now, my daughters couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. That's why I'm the safe space. Come over here. I'll talk to your parents. I'll make sure they feel safe. And then with that being said, I'll be safe too. So I definitely agree with the safe space. Yeah.
So the mental part. It's super important to know who you are. And I can speak to that because very often I was always told who I wasn't. Right? So being from a Afro-Latina background, I was told by people that I'm not black. And my response is every day when I go outside, my people see my black.
Right.
So I don't understand that. In the Latino community, there were people that said, "Oh, you're not Latino. You're not Latino." Excuse me, right? I speak Spanish. And I'm very careful. This is why I'm careful about labels. And when people ask me, who are you? I'm careful. Normally, when you speak to people of color, the first thing they say, I'm a black this, I'm a black that. You don't hear other nationalities or ethnicities say that they are their color first and then who they are. Right. Don't do that. So I learned very early, okay, so if I'm not black and I'm not Latina, who am I? And who I am is Maira. And Elder Swazzle Hodge. I'm a unique being in this universe with a specific assignment in the earth. And my assignment, what I've understood, is to be an encourager. I'm an encourager, I'm a helper, and I'm a servant. Some people are not good with being servants. But don't you know, to be in a leadership role, you have to be a servant
You
first.
do.
So I understand servitude. And so who do I serve? I serve my family, my daughters, my husband first. Once you leave your household with your parents and you move on to be with your spouse or your partner, then that is the person that you now take care of. And so I can say to you that as a mother, as a sister, as a wife, that mental space you got to really preserve. Because you're stretched beyond your capacity at times. Because everybody needs something, right? And there's sometimes not enough hours in the day if you don't know how to manage your time to serve everybody. Right? And if you don't preserve yourself, then you're not good to anybody.
Preach.
Right? So that's hopefully that answered that.
No,
question.
you did. You definitely did.
All
You
right.
definitely did. Piggybacking on what you said about you being an educator.
Okay.
I think that is not only a role, but it gives you like a umbrella. So like when you say educator, I see that, okay, not only are you, influencing people and like teaching and you're also being an example.
Yeah.
So with that being said, like how do you feel like you influence the people you serve?
Well, I know for a fact that I have the ability to see the positive in every situation. Not everybody has that.
Optimism, they don't.
And it's a choice. It's a choice and it takes practice. What I've learned is that no matter what's happening, you have a choice to decide whether it's happening to you or if it's happening for you. And I'm talking about diagnoses. I'm talking about disappointment. And all disappointment is unmet expectations. If you have expectations of people, your loved ones, I'm not even talking about strangers. If you have expectations of people and they don't meet your expectations, that's disappointment, right? What are you going to do with that disappointment? So mindset is important. For me, I believe that I'm able to do what I do because I have a positive outlook, right? And some people don't think that's realistic, but it is. You have to choose to do that. And so I have chosen, in order to preserve my mental wellness, to view and search for the positive in every situation. Even the worst thing you can imagine, right? There's some blessing that comes from it. In the end, there's wisdom that comes from it. All right. So is something negative happening to you or for you? And I force myself to think like that, so that way I can offer that to the next person.
So I think that phrase that you said, it is a choice to choose if something is happening to you or working for you. Moving into like my late 20s, I'm 28, I'm going to be 29 in August. Right. I look like I'm 15, I know. But just getting to, I think, an age where you finally see a lot of clarity in things. I think for a while, a lot of us felt like, oh my God, like, why is this happening to me? I know I did. I come from a background of low emotional intelligence, but high labor. And that is like something that is very common, when you think about, because I think Latinos, y'all also part of the Caribbean to me as well, I consider that as one big umbrella.
Right.
Like being from a Caribbean descent, Latino descent, like you do feel like a lot of things is pressure, know? So when I say you have this grace-like aura, it's even when you explain your duties. Because, I don't know, I was complaining, like, why I gotta watch this kid? Why I gotta help my mom? Why I gotta wash the dishes? Why I gotta do this? And, my younger siblings didn't have that. And sometimes I used to look at it like, damn, it's so much, responsibility. But then the older I got, I realized that happened for me.
Yes.
Because now when I go out into the world, a lot of people don't even know how to tend to themselves. And they look to someone to help them or give them some type of, let's be honest, to teach them. So learning that things are happening for you, it teaches you, lessons, And
I agree.
do you think that being an educator has become the biggest lesson for you?
I really like that question. I like it. I like it a lot. Because I wouldn't have,
Like it happened for you, right?
I want to say yes. I want to say yes because being an educator is not just someone who is sitting in the classroom or in front of an audience. It's also modeling what you know and your wisdom, and then transferring it, sharing it with others. And I believe I do that. I do that not only in my family as the eldest daughter, right, as a model for my sisters and my siblings. And there's something to be said about birth order. Those who are the eldest usually have a little calm spirit. They didn't have to compete with, anything else if they had their parent. And then as the other siblings came along, you learn how to deal with community, right? You learn that first in the house. You deal with different personalities, and everybody has a different gift. But back to what you're saying, absolutely. Absolutely. Like being postured to assist people and help. Teaching for me has allowed me to share the things that I've learned. It's allowed me to get ahead of maybe someone else's problems by making sure that I give them the information before they go through some of the struggles that I experienced. And I wouldn't say that I've struggled a lot, but if you've gone through any kind of adversity, you kind of don't want your loved ones to go through it, even though everybody has to go through their experience. But that's how by teaching, I believe that I'm intercepting some things and giving people the wisdom that I was given, just to give them a head start. And so that's whether I'm teaching in the household, whether I'm teaching in the marketplace, when I'm teaching in ministry, and I take ministry very seriously, only because I don't want to mess up God's word. I take more time to study and make sure that I know what I'm talking about before I open my mouth. So just, educating. Right. There are people that don't know the deep meanings of the scriptures, right? And so can't play around with that because I don't want God to get me.
Right. Even speaking on ministry, like, we live in an age where everyone's opinion is online. It's broadcasted.
Yes.
So sometimes opinions are considered as facts. So, like, you even being considerate about... Because what it really is making sure that you as the person are advising based off of a path that you actually went through.
Right.
Like, for example, like, we got the girls who work out. They have videos working out, no sweat. I won't watch that compared to a woman who's like another female who's working out and actually in a video you see her sweating. Oh my gosh, she's in the camera like, yo, God, this set, I can't do it. You feel more relatable. You can relate with that person, and now that everyone wants to follow in footsteps that works, because let's just be honest, there's people out there with influencers, it's worked for them. So you taking that extra mile, that extra steps, and making sure that what you saying is fact proof, check.
Okay.
I already see like where your heart is. You know what I'm saying? And do you ever feel like because of where your heart is, like you learn through experience?
I do. I want to say that I do, because there's two things that happen. There are people that need that kind of, expression, that love, that attention, and then there are people who, because they've lacked it, kind of feel uncomfortable around me. And I get that because I understand it, right? I'm okay with that, and I know how to approach those persons. Because there are people that, because they haven't been loved or they didn't feel that they experienced that at home or wherever they came from, that don't recognize it. And so sometimes, in this world today, it's easy to think that somebody's trying to get you, right? And so they're always looking for what's the catch. There's no catch with me. This is me all day long, no matter where you catch me. If I'm in the laundry, if I'm in the kitchen, if I'm in a seminar, if I'm speaking in front of hundreds, you're going to find the same person.
Right.
This is who I am every day.
A lot of people are willing to match the negativity rather than the positivity.
Absolutely.
So quick to match the negativity, but the positive. And I think that's also like something that we try to do here at the Empath Experience, because the title speaks for itself. To show empathy is something that is not common these days.
Right.
And that segues into like my next question, which is, like, have you ever had conflict based off of your intentions for the people that you're educating or advising? Did they ever give you pushback where you, it made you consider, like, damn, do I even want to do this?
Yes. Yes.
Look, people are hard. It's expected,
I'm going to answer that. And this happens in whatever arena you're in, whatever industry you're in whatever rooms I found in myself in. There are times that, because people cannot relate to the level of your love or your expression, sometimes the spirit of jealousy and envy comes in. And they're very dangerous. Okay, so someone who is envious can really plot and plan to destroy you. And it's not something that they can help. It's a spirit. You know what I mean? So I'm very mindful of that, but I'm not afraid of anybody because I know who I serve.
I know that's right.
And I believe the word of God that says that God is with me always. But I am mindful. Just because you trust God and know God doesn't mean that you're going to walk out of wisdom and put yourself in harm's way. Right? So to answer that, yes, I've had conflict. I've had pushback. Because there are people that I've actually been told. I actually had someone honestly say to me, every now and then, I look at you and it's like, okay, well, thank you for telling me because at least I know. I'd rather somebody be honest with me and tell me that I make them a little uncomfortable than to pretend in my face and play in my face, act like they're good and they're not. And we just had an experience like that in the marketplace recently and we had to squash it quickly. Because what happens is if you don't deal with those things immediately, they fester and they grow. They do. And someone who has a spirit of jealousy or envy is very dangerous. Not just to you, but to themselves.
They are. Yes.
All right. And usually it's not their fault. And so as an empath, I'm aware of that. I look behind the scenes. Usually when you see somebody being explosive or combative or resistant, there's a root behind that. And I always look to what is their relationship with their mother. I go there. As a woman, that's where I go. What is their relationship with their mother? Not even the father.
The first concept of love. It's your first concept of love.
What happened there? And a lot of times I'm not wrong. Somewhere there was a breakdown. And so that's how they show up. They show up very defensive. They show up hurt. And not necessarily because they want to. That's what they know. That's
just who they are now.
So people stick to, they do what's familiar to them and what's comfortable.
When I talk to you, Ms. Hodge, you're almost like, because we meet different people for different seasons, and the way I met Ms. Hodge, I was like, I need her on the show. Only because we don't want to always just see what we talk about, because sometimes we haven't even experienced things
That's powerful.
to even say that we are a person of fact, or we are actually saying that they're facts. So like when I met you, my spirit took to you, and y'all know that I'm big on energy. It don't matter what you say out this mouth. If this energy is not sitting right with me, I'm gonna say it. If you to know me is to know, I will always express myself. Okay, so when I met you, Miss Hodge, what gravitated to my spirit about you was seeing my growth and meeting you, and you kind of confirmed it for me a little bit. Because at one point, y'all, I was definitely in a space of resentment.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't talk about it because we tend to use vices. We tend to act avoidant. Rather than actually saying what it is. Like, I really struggled with believing that people around me was there for me, or just holding on to things that happened to me, that eldest daughter thing. Because it's
come on.
Because sometimes two different generations, because you mentioned the 60s with your parents and stuff like that. I feel like the 90s, parents, they really raised, I guess they were the last parents that really raised their children to be very aware of themselves, aware of their surroundings. So not only did this empath energy be a pro to me, but it was also a con at one moment, because not only was I trying to pour into everyone else before pouring into myself, it was more so of I wasn't believing what I was saying.
Wow.
And to get on this platform and to tell y'all oh yeah, this is what you should do, to me I think that's hypocritical, because you really have to go through certain things in order to advise.
Right, I believe
Going back to my initial comment about what my spirit took is that for a while, I was not in a place of just embodying the whole wisdom helping thing. I was frustrated because I feel like I couldn't relate to people who I wanted to be close to.
Wow, that's
a different place, because I don't care what anyone says. As a human being, you guys want to be seen and emotionally chosen. We want to all be seen and emotionally chosen. Not only in relationships, but it was in family, friendships. So the way you talk about being the eldest girl, it just confirms that the more you choose to look at things from a positive light, you will be able to relate to that. Because before it was oh my God, the eldest daughter felt a lot of resentment, responsibility, and envy. I used to envy my other siblings, because I feel like my mom protected them more from seeing certain things, whereas me, a lot of things were exposed to me early. And I'm not saying things that were inappropriate, but I picked up on things very early. You know, I was watered like that. I was like, you know, positioned like that. But now that I'm here and, you know, we met, you just confirmed that, look, the perspective of looking at it is different, you know? We all have like a role that we don't know we're playing, you know?
Right.
And I realized like this is the role.
True.
Like, Cheyenne, don't get mad that you like to be around people. That's okay. You can show that vulnerability. That's okay.
Yes.
There's somebody out there that also wants to be seen for that vulnerability as well. So like I definitely feel like now like you really confirmed for me, like stop looking at it as like an anchor, but more like a uplifter, you know?
Yes.
For sure, like definitely. I'm not gonna lie, Ms. Hodge, but we really want to know, as an educator, is how do you feel about these kids and their reading and math proficiency levels? Like,
so you need to understand that it is a strategy. Our children are not below level because they want to or the parents don't care. It's strategic. If we go back in history and we look at how it was a crime to read as people of color, we don't talk about people of color. I mean, that's what I know about. It was a crime. It was criminal. Not much has changed. It's just the faces have changed, but it's been a strategy to keep people of color from educating, and so we haven't stopped educating ourselves. Education happened. You know, everything begins at home. First of all, let's start there.
yeah.
But the school system, and I want to be mindful of my words. The school system that exists today for our children is not set up to make them be great. And so education has to start at home. I can share with you that my daughter, when she was in the 4s, she's 36, when she was 4 or 5, the school that she attended had a problem with the choice of books that she was reading. And at that time, it was a black author. I'm not going to mention his name at this time. There's a little controversy around him. But those were her choice of books. And at the time, there was a teacher who there was still books that were printed years ago that were still around, and because her choice of books were different, the notations on her notebook were a little different. So me as a parent, I had a problem with you writing in red on her notebook when she's logging what you asked her to do, her reading, right? And so it happens on so many levels. You know, it happens subtly sometimes in the classroom, where the student might come in, they're doing their work, they're doing what they're supposed to do, but they might be a little playful. They get the label of being too disruptive or whatever. There's a lot of things that come into it. But it's a strategy. Because you cannot tell me that with educators in a classroom who are passionate about what they do, that children still are showing up not on level. And what's on level? What's on level? What the state decides or what you decide at home? And then that's layered with the fact that some parents haven't gotten what they needed. So how are they expected to
I would say it definitely starts.
So it's generational, right? And so I just recently posted online, and I'm new to TikTok. That's how I wanted to get back to that.
You're doing an amazing job,
TikTok. Let me share with you why I've always been very guarded, very private. But what I learned is that there's no such thing.
No such thing.
Because if people want to search you out, they're going to find you. They want to blaspheme your name, they will do it, right? So you might as well just get out there and say what you have to say. Responsibly, right? But yeah, all of that has been strategic. Our children are signed up to fail. And if we don't open our eyes as the adults, as the educational institutions, and we're relying on institutions that weren't built for us, all right? And so because it's been programmed, okay, when your child gets a certain age, you register them into the public school, you put them in, you get them ready for middle school and high school, but what are we imparting into our children? My daughters have had books before they could walk. I have a daughter right now that works for an imprint. I'm not going to say the name, you have to look her up, but because she was given books very early, and you know where that came from, for me, language and literacy was super important. Because I had to translate from my mom. I understood early. So I was a Sesame Street girl. That was for you. That was something that was for you. I learned how to spell my full name watching Sesame Street. And I remember when Snuffleupagus came on board, that was one of my favorite characters. Right? So I'm aging myself, okay? But I'm saying that I learned my English. I'm very articulate because I didn't have choices as to where to get my English from, right? But I'm just grateful. But educated, to answer your question, I feel saddened for the children who are not meeting the standards of those that are supposedly in charge. But I believe that we as a community, as parents, have the opportunity to change that every single day when we come to our places of education with them. Absolutely.
I'm going to do a little pushback because this is a safe space. We consider this very much a safe space. Mm-hmm. And you know, most of the time we try to get people on the T-Pod that, you know, can answer questions that people are possibly like running through their mind, you know? Mm-hmm. Pushing back on, yes, it starts from home. You'll start to realize that a lot of adults pass down a lot of things that to their kids, whether it's trauma they haven't taken care of, whether it's proficiency skills. Right. Believe it or not, in the Black community, we don't know how to budget. You know, that's another thing. Wow. Teaching from home is very important because anybody can do an equation. That's how I see it. Like, okay. You know, I'm a mom. You guys know that. I do wear that on my sleeve. That is one of my many hats. I got a jet. I do.
Cut. Like, you got a kid.
Nah, they gonna be weak because it's like, come on, Jay. You know she got a kid.